everybody, and welcome to the CCA League Week 1 here. I am DRF, joined by Mizuno once again for some doubleheader action for the first time this season.
I'm so excited. I love these doubleheaders because it's just like watching like football on like a Sunday morning, on a Sunday afternoon, right? You just sit on the couch and just watch games back to back, and it's fantastic. And I think it's just great. We have so many teams to show off here in this league, and what way to start off with two Division 1 teams. These are our top teams in the league.
Yeah, Division 1 is where it is at. These are the top of the top teams based on our seeding, and we anticipate all of these teams to be able to put on a good show for us. So we have Boilermaker special today taking on OnSU. That's Purdue versus Ohio State, a Big Ten matchup here.
Right, exactly. Purdue in the purple and OnSU in the yellow here. We have some really crucial players to watch out here for, specifically on the side of Purdue. Barry, a very popular E-leader Charger main here, going to be kind of that clear anchor for Purdue. Meanwhile, in OnSU, they're also rocking that E-leader as well, so we're going to be kind of seeing that tug-of-war between the backlines this game.
Yeah, we are. And you mentioned Barry, definitely, I think one of the scariest players that people have noticed when, first going through the rosters, just such a prominent E-leader player. And so far, though, it seems like Purdue is struggling to get a little bit of a grip of map control here, as we do see Ohio State. They are going to be the ones that are in the driver's seat to start this one out.
Right, exactly. I do have to also point out ONSU's roster features Andriel, a member of the Sembo IHOP fame. So we got some I know, right? We got some key players in the community being participants in this league and active in their schools' collegiate communities, which is great because it's just an even more competitive matchup here.
Yeah, no, that we always love to see that here. And now that Purdue's finally getting a little bit of momentum going, they're able to push this tower all the way to the second checkpoint, hoping to break through the second checkpoint. And it looks like that they are going to get that. Barry holding on to that tower as long as physically possible, breaking through that checkpoint. So crucial for them. And that's going to put them in a fantastic spot going into these next 3 minutes here. As and right now it seems like this push just isn't quite over yet.
Right, exactly. You see Yoom on the slosh trying to overextend just a little bit, hoping to snag a pick on that ledge, you taking advantage of that slosher's arch, which is very great on this map since Hammerhead just kind of starts low and makes its way up. So that's, these weapons like blasters and sloshers are going to be crucial here in gaining some of these picks.
Yeah, they really are. And seeing some great squiggles here. Our Division 1 teams have definitely been putting in a lot of time here to try to perfect a lot of the movement that we're seeing. And of course, Aster, so well known for these beacons on those Dapple dualies, is just jumping around left and right. You never know where Aster's gonna be.
Right, I do have to point out ONSU's use of that wave breaker there being effective in detecting Purdue's movements and location. That's going to be crucial when you're having a team composition that is just constantly jumping around across the map. It'll be very ideal to know where they'll end up landing.
2 minutes to play, and this is still a pretty competitive matchup here. Purdue definitely, I think, coming into this, was probably going to be the favorites here, but Ohio State right now putting up a really good fight. They do have some ground to gain in the closing couple minutes, but anything is quite possible at this time, but not when Aster is making a play here on their flat. And that's a wipe!
Oh no, right as you say that, what a great play from Aster. I know bias here as someone who is his teammate, but it was a really clever use of the distraction of the E-leader's eye line of sight, and also Yoom's use of the slosher. A great pick by the E-leader here, and this tower is just going to steamroll right into that checkpoint.
Oh man. Yeah, and as we had talked about last night with this game 1 here, we do tend to see that this has gone back and forth on tower control Hammerhead, but once you break through that last checkpoint, that's the oh no zone. That's where things just start to tumble out of control, and you've got to just throw up a Hail Mary in order to keep yourself in that game. Unfortunately for Ohio State there, they just weren't able to get that together there. So Boilermaker Special getting the first point here in this best of 7 set.
Right, exactly. Just that once that check, like you mentioned, that checkpoint is just crucial to secure because it is at the point where you have the most control of the map, and it's just so hard to completely overtake. Now, that being said, as we're heading into game 2, let's talk a little bit about these teams and get to know them a bit. OnSU, when going through verification, I mentioned Andriel as a member of Thembo IHOP for quite some time. One of their players, S Slim, Splat S Slim, that's a tongue twister right there, had placed 3rd and 4th place respectively in Off the Dials, It's Dangerous to Go Alone 30, which is pretty impressive because I know that tournament is pretty difficult as like an FA tournament. And they were also featured in a Friday night splashdown tournament back in September. So these players are have some experience, right? Just some.
Oh yeah.
But you know, that's going to be kind of hard to kind of create that mold of competitiveness, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it can definitely be a little bit, you know, it's always interesting to see, you know, what everyone's background is and what they're able to, you know, individually bring here. Part of the beauty of collegiate, though, is that things are constantly changing, so it is a little bit unpredictable. You don't quite know what you're going to be going up against or what you're dealing with, you know, in a given season, a given week, a given day.
Oh, hold on. Now we're entering game 2 here. Boilermaker Special up 1-0. We are into Rainmaker Museum d'Alfonsino. We see ONSU in the yellow, Purdue in the purple. I like seeing that bow right there with the Stamper. Some new weapons in Splatoon 3. I'm curious how well these players have been practicing with this and how, you know, these adjustments are going to help ONSU hopefully take the second game.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be looking to take advantage of these brand new weapons to try to help them out here. You know, trying to contribute to a little bit of the unpredictability with a new game as well. But very, very quickly going to pick up this Rainmaker and going to dunk it down on that first checkpoint just like that. So now it is going to be another push there actually with the Rainmaker going all the way to 30. I believe that was Aster that made that play there. So that's going to be a huge push in this opening minute that Ohio State's going to have to try to dig out of.
Right, exactly. I think just Purdue was able to take advantage of a 2-down situation, and they just gunned it with the Rainmaker. And of course, you have to be so careful and aware of where that Rainmaker is when it is completely exposed and not protected by its shield. And someone at Purdue was able to just snatch the Rainmaker and sneak right through. Now ONSU is in the back foot.
Oh wait, who is this? Is it none other but Aster that is trying to get behind enemy lines here and do some damage? That's going to be 2 down on the side of ONSU, and now they are going to be pushing this Rainmaker just even further. But no, it's going to be Barry that falls off, though. So they're going to have to back up, go up the ramp once again, and try once more to get this push going. But it looks like it's going to be done. Easy peasy here. Going all the way up to that final goal and dunking it for the knockout.
Yeah, once you had the Dapples trying to get into their spawn like that and placing down a beacon, it is very difficult to just completely disrupt that presence, right? And what effective coordination and synergy from the Boilermaker Special, and their experiences as competitive players are really shining through.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that was very well executed there. And it seemed like that first game for them was sort of just an opportunity to get warmed up, really, because that second game was such, you know, so much more seamless. And Ohio State just never had an answer.
Agreed. Let's talk about for Purdue for a second here. ONSU, their background, like I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of experienced players. Like they've been, you know, they've dipped their hands into competitive. They know what's going on. Meanwhile, Purdue has just an extensive history in competitive. Like we mentioned earlier, Barry is a high level charger elator main, really prominent in the community. Aster of ITAP and Sub Power fame, and then two other members, Toasty and Yoom, are from the Rolling Squids, a low ink and LSL competitor and frequenter. So that being said, you have this giant mix of competitive experience, and they're going to grow immensely together as a team.
Oh yeah, and that's gonna be awesome to see. That progression. But taking a look now at this next game, Purdue sitting with that 2-0 lead at the moment, going to be going over to Clamblitz Eeltail, and yesterday we saw a very competitive match there. This can be a basket that's kind of tricky to get up to and hold a sustained push. That's really going to be the key here, is making sure that you have the numbers in order to hold that basket open a little bit longer, because it's this one's just so tricky to gather your players around and hold the position. It's not advantageous at all working underneath that basket.
Right, exactly. You also have to watch out for the high points on this map because of that bridge, making that L shape right before the basket. It acts as like a fortress, basically, right? You have to knock down whoever is protecting that basket from that ledge. And that's something that's very difficult to do. And I'm curious how each team is going to be able to take advantage of those situations.
Well, let's take a look at these comps here to see what each team has brought out. We've got a Splat Charger on either side here, and I'm noticing that Ohio State bringing out that Squeezer as well.
I really like that pick here because, like you said, the walls and the corners here are pretty crucial for gaining ground, and I think the Squeezer will be very effective here. So that is I believe, a very nice pick from ONSU, and I'm curious how this is going to play out with the synergy with the rest of the core.
Oh man, but when you've got to deal with Aster just time and time again, though, it could just be difficult, as it seems to be the case right now for Ohio State, and that's gonna be a wipe. So here comes the first push from Purdue, and they are going to get that first power clam in, plus a handful on top of that. This is gonna be a nice long push from them, going all the way down to 41 points remaining, and we're not even a minute in yet.
What a great use of the tri-strike from Yumta here, just completely recognizing where their players and their teammates are focusing that energy and just dumping a bunch of ink and energy into that one area. And all of a sudden, my God, that push was so effective and completely shutting them out in a matter of, what was that, 40 seconds? Purdue takes the knockout. Wow.
Oh my goodness. So that is going to be 3 games to the Boilermaker special here, and I don't know. I'm speechless. Those last 2 games were just lightning fast for Boilermaker special. Ohio State just didn't even know what hit them.
I mean, the Boilermaker special, they know how to construct a lockout situation, right? Like I just mentioned, Utah utilizing the tri-strike special to completely zone out ONSU from even approaching the basket, and then you just have this constant charger pressure from Barry, Aster providing support, Tosi providing support as needed. It's a great synergy and fantastic execution. And now 3-0 situation, OSU is in the back foot here. How are they going to respond to this just sudden wave of momentum?
That is a great question, and it's kind of hard to formulate an answer for that, really, because that first game, you that's where you kind of have to start going. First of all, you need to mentally just take that back, go to that first game where you had that early lead. You struck first as Ohio State, and you need to find that opportunity once again. Hopefully, don't get too flustered. You're in an 0-3 situation, but you need to work together, try to isolate a couple members of that Purdue team. I think at this point, forget Aster. Like, Aster is going to be all over the place. You need to be calling out Aster consistently. But I would say with Yoom or Toasty, that's where Ohio State's really going to have to focus their efforts to put Purdue at a numbers disadvantage. And then from there, hopefully, they can start moving on to Barry on that backline and Aster wherever the heck he is.
Trying to figure that out. It's such an interesting puzzle. Game 4, OnSU in the yellow, Purdue in the purple. I almost said purple in the Purdue. We're on Splat Zone Sturgeon now. And we're seeing some pretty similar comms. I see Aster now with what is that? The Splatana?
Yeah, the Splatana Wiper.
Sick. Oh, we do see. Oh, we already see. I think OnSU taking the first pick here on the E leader, which is going to be very advantageous for OnSU. But in turn, Aster with the Splatana Wiper taking a crucial pick here, and all of a sudden, Purdue is getting the zone.
Oh, but Aster, they're trying to use this hammer effectively and gets the splat. They're like finally going to go down themselves. So this is, I do like where Ohio State is currently sitting right now. They did manage to get first control of that zone, and I think they need a little bit of that reassurance there that they are in this. They can do this. And now they're going to get this neutral zone. The zone will flip back in their favor, and this should be a competitive match between the two now.
I love the Squeezers' positioning here. They are in the right spot to put some pressure onto Purdue's Charger player, while also managing the zone and getting a good lay of the land here. Now with the Wave Breaker, what a fantastic play from OnSU. They now know where most of the Purdue players are. Aster coming in with the Stamper, hoping to capture the zone with the pick, goes down, and the Squeezer is still alive, just holding on for dear life.
Oh, but it looks like they are going to smartly back off here for now. They got the lead, but now they need to fight their way back in here. The penalty is up for Purdue, and they're going to be putting some significant points on the board. 2 down on the side of Ohio State, so this could get messy really quickly. They're going to have to relinquish this lead here, but that's okay. Don't start to stagger is the key thing for Ohio State.
Right, they did. Right as you say that, though, the 2 members of OnSU with the specials do go down. Now they have very little special points to work with, and with 30 penalty points on the clock there for Purdue, excuse me, OnSU is going to have to get some specials quick in hopes of getting the zone back.
Oh, and there's a crucial pick on the E-leader, but is it too little too late? Ohio State needs to get on this zone right now, but it looks like it's not going to be in time, as Boilermaker Special will win this set 4-0.
Wow. OnSU, they had such a great lockout situation going when they had first control of the zone back in that 3.5 minute mark there. But like I mentioned, the squeezer and the positioning of most of the players was at like the perfect spot. But I think once those specials started coming out and they started to scatter, they just weren't able to recuperate and recover enough to regain that ground again.
Yeah, and you know it's a little bit of a feels bad for Ohio State, because especially in game 1 and game 4, we saw glimpses of, you know, great plays and, you know, trying to get themselves back in it. Oh, excuse me. But they just weren't able to quite piece that together. So, but I do think that, you know, they might have just gotten a little bit unlucky with the schedule, picking up Boilermaker Special in week number 1. But I do feel like Ohio State is going to be a team to watch out for in the coming weeks. So if you have Ohio State in your week 4, week 5 slot, I wish you luck, because this team is really, the stocks are only going up right now.
Right, exactly. And again, this is just all the more of a learning experience. These games where they go 4-0, I mean, we have such wide variety skill levels in players at this point, right? There's a lot to glean and to learn. So I hope both teams, when they walk away from this match, they come back to the VOD and take a look and see what went right and what went wrong. Because OnSU had so many things going right for them, and I think it's just that lack of experience as players on the same team. Once they get that synergy going, I can easily see them becoming a huge threat in their division and in their group. Excuse me.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to watch out for them. But Boilermaker Special with a early statement here in the season, week 1, getting the job done in what felt like record time. So definitely watch out for them. I know Aster, you know, is going to be definitely going to be making the most of this season, as I believe this is probably going to end up being their last season. So definitely trying to finish that one out on top.
definitely for sure. He is graduating in December, so I think this is the big kind of one last hoorah before the last, before what is it? Walking up the stage and getting your diploma.
Yes,
What's the
there you
phrase?
go.
Oh my God, I graduated like 5 months, 5 months ago at this point. I don't even remember. I don't even remember what it's called. Where it's like you go across the stage, right? You get handed your diploma. There's a phrase for it, but I forgot.
Oh man, yeah. So we'll just have to, keep an eye out because I definitely Aster came out guns blazing there. So it's going to be fun to continuously watch. And, I'm excited to also look at the stats for this because with Division 1, we are going to be trying something new this season where we do take, some stats from all these matches. And hopefully it is something that is fun and constructive for all the players to see. And we could also, kind of build up some excitement as well for, who's really been showing up for their team and delivering in the CCA league. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, for sure. Me too. I think just getting extra additional information about what makes or breaks a game. Looking at those stats, we might be able to draw some trends and come up with some conclusions, run a scientific experiment. It'll be great.
Yeah, so, well, that is, I guess going to end up doing it for this first set. Boilermaker Special winning that one 4-0. But as we said, this is a double header. So we do have a second match coming up at the hour. I believe that one is going to be between...
I have it right here. Between the Husky Splatsville Knights from University of Washington and a CCA favorite, a team that has participated in many of our events, Comet Blasters from University of Texas, Dallas. So we got a very interesting matchup here.
Yeah, no, we really do. I mean, UW kind of came out of nowhere, and we kind of looked at, the players that are involved. We have Ollie from 20 Pew Pew leading the way there. And we were definitely a little bit surprised to see that, but we instantly knew right away this team is going to be a contender to watch out for. And meanwhile, the Comet Blasters, they're in an interesting position actually, as they are CCA veterans at this point, representing UT Dallas as the JV team in Division 1. And I believe when we were going through seeding, we saw what UT Dallas was able to do with both of their teams. And we said, you know what, with the Comet Blasters, even though they might be the JV team, they've really shown up a few times in our recent events. And we want to give them this opportunity to really challenge themselves and try to make some noise in Division 1. So that's going to be a fun one to watch because I honestly am not entirely sure what's going to happen.
Right, exactly. I think this is a very anticipated matchup in terms of just unfamiliarity, right? I think with the us CCA staff and TOs are familiar with the Comet Blasters, but I think the general collegiate community, we have so many new teams and players, we still don't know who a lot of these players and teams are. So hopefully with this upcoming matchup, we'll get to know them a bit more.
Yeah, so that we will definitely keep our eyes peeled for that. So I think what we will go ahead and do here, we do have quite a bit of time before our next match. So that will be at the hour, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to go ahead and take a bit of a break here, and we will be back soon with that next match. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. So, we've got some time before our upcoming matchup between the University of Washington and the Comet Blasters. There we go. So we figured that we'll take a little bit of time here to just kind of bring you all to the analyst's desk, and we are going to go ahead and take a look at the match that we just saw. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the games that were played there, and talk over about some of the plays that were made, and going through possibly what teams could have done better and stuff like that.
This is courtesy of Toasty from the Boilermaker Special helping us out last minute. Thank you so much, Toasty. This is greatly appreciated. Now we get to have the nice, the clutch replay code kind of helping us out and kind of helping us able to kind of gauge what went right and what went wrong for both teams.
All right, so taking a look here, obviously early gameplay, and whoops, this is actually game 4. I meant to just take us over to game 1, but we could take a look at this one anyways.
No, take a look at game 4. It's fine, because I think this was a perfect moment. Like, if you were to pause here, right? Like game 4, the L.
L, there we, okay.
The bumper. There's instructions right there, DRF.
It's gonna take it takes a little bit of practice with this one,
But point being, what I was going to say is looking at game 4 is so important though, because the momentum that the Boilermaker Special was riding on at this point, get it, Boilermaker Special, trade, riding, choo-choo, was very crucial and kind of defines the tone of how each of these teams will play. And I think you could kind of see that in the openings too, right? So I think you kind of see a lot of like you see Aster here already and ONSU's Plat against the big gay hunk, the Charger player, already putting on a lot of pressure. I think that play kind of demonstrates a bit kind of like the shutting down. Like the Boilermaker Special is ready to shut this game down and just take the set. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's I think the two key things is one with that Aster getting behind the back line of Ohio State, and meanwhile on the right-hand side, we did see the 3 players from Ohio State that are currently in the zone. They were able to work together to take out Barry, and that was a huge play. Obviously, it took 3 of them to do it, but getting rid of Barry out of that equation for Purdue makes things so much more complicated for them. But on the other hand, as you mentioned, Aster on that left-hand side, getting behind their back line. Now it's kind of a tit for tat here, where they're both going to lose their back lines. Both it's like in chess, both players end up losing a queen here. Did anyone really win out? So Aster, with that play, is going to actually, make a huge opening for Purdue to get back in here right away and get control of the zone, as they do here in just a second.
Right, exactly. And I think part of that play was that Toasty and Hume were able to take advantage of Aster's play here, right? Because now you see the tables have literally turned. All of a sudden, you see Okamu on the slosher and Andriel on the squeezer. They were on the zone at the ready, but because they saw the trouble with their E-later and also, Aster disrupting their objective, they had to retreat and back up and kind of resettle themselves. So that, I think that was a great, act of synergy and execution from Toasty and Hume from the Boilermaker Special.
Oh, absolutely. So it definitely gives them a good chance here to, get first crack at the zone. And kind of looking here, though, they do lose a couple of members, and Ohio State is going to be able to flip back control of the zone. But notice how with Purdue at this stage, they are still pushed back here, but they still have quite a bit of purple paint to work with. And a lot of that had to do with Aster's early positioning. We saw how Aster was working from behind enemy lines, and that now is going to provide them opportunities to get back in this zone and reclaim it, because look at all the different avenues they have to work with now. Where Ohio State, they're just trying to make sure that the zone's painted at the moment and get ready for them to come back in. But, they need to get more paint on the ground in general, not just in the zone, in general, to prevent those avenues from being opened up.
Right, exactly. I do want to also point out here, while there's a lot of purple paint, I pointed out in the match, ONSU has some great positioning and pairing going on here. If you take a look on the right side of the zone, you see the E-leader and squeezer synergy. That's going to put a lot of pressure on the greats area where, those backline players like to hang out. As you could see here, Yuma's already clumped up on those greats area and being pressured by that Charger squeezer. I think that was just great. I don't know, just great synergy there and decision making to kind of have these two obvious pairings to stand their ground and hold the zone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that pairing just sort of works out for them here for just a little bit, but Purdue I think the individual skills of players like Barry and Aster going to make this one difficult for Ohio State. And see, now we start to see Ohio State, they get a little bit excited there to overextend, and that is going to be the junior that goes down, followed by the machine. Aster taking a 1-for-2 trade there, and that works entirely in Purdue's favor. Toasty Hume going to be able to step up here, paint that zone, and now Ohio State is reeling.
Right, exactly. And I think that was a great play, supportive play from Purdue, because not only did it take out the pairing between the splatter shot and Okamlu's sloshing, that displacement, it also displaced the charge and the squeezer. If you were to rewind like 10 seconds, you would notice that the squeezer completely shifted all the way over to the other side of the map, and the E-leaders completely backed up onto their spinner.
Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, now we start to see that Ohio State, they are just way back at this stage, and you know, they managed to get a couple of caps here, but at this point you start to see that timer tick down. Desperation kicks in. The E-leader falling there was just not going to do him any good, and the junior got there just too little too late.
Right, exactly. And I think, again, this was a good game for OSU to take. They had the potential, but I mean, I think it's just the execution of Purdue's experience. And I think also a little bit of kind of, anxiousness from, ONSU trying to get this right and trying to, stay into the set, right? I think that also puts a lot of pressure into a team's decision making and a team's reactions to what's actually happening on the map.
Oh, absolutely. So, let's go ahead and I guess we'll pivot over to another game. I think game one would probably be our next best bet to go through here. So let's go ahead and pivot over there real quick.
Yeah, game one was really interesting because of the back and forth that we saw on Hammerhead TC. Like there was just a lot of kind of gauging each other, scoping each other out. And we saw that from our last night's match that we had between oh gosh, we had a match last night. I've already forgotten it. Jeez, it was such a good match.
between UH Premier and Griffink.
That's right, UH Premier and Griffink from William & Mary and University of Houston. Thank you. And that was such a good matchup too, because I remember last night I mentioned how it was such a competitive match because there was just no give or take from these players.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was I mean, that match was just a wild ride in general. And Hammerhead Tower Control was a really good matchup in both that first game in the last set and this game in this set here. I was honestly a little bit scared for Purdue actually at the start of this one. We'll jump in just a second here to see what that's going to look like. So let's see. Let's go ahead and get that going. Whoops.
I love this replay system. It's so clutch.
Oh, it absolutely is. I love it. And let's see. And then also we're gonna try. All right, there we go. So, taking a look at the early game here. Of course, both teams kind of making a run straight for the center of the map.
I'm noticing here that Purdue is kind of holding a stronger line. If you were to rewind literally like 3 seconds, you kind of notice that their line is more linear and vertical than ONSU's. You kind of notice that the way that they're painting and trying to take control is a little bit more spread out, I think. Like you already see Splat Slim already on that right court area, hoping to exert a little bit of pressure on Hume. So I wonder if I think that setup and that start for ONSU, I think that was a lot more defining and I think a little bit more aggressive than what Purdue initially anticipated.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this blaster right here gets this crucial pick on the slosher, and now that's going to open up a window of opportunity to kind of come through and hopefully just sweep across the side there. And now that's going to kind of develop, 1.5 fronts to work with, as Ohio State is going to get this first control of the tower. So Aster going to jump in there as well, and now we're seeing a bit of a 3v2 situation.
Let's see here. This is a pretty good positioning for both teams, right? I think Purdue is playing it as safe as they can right now, kind of just giving just a little bit of room for ONSU to take, but not too much so that they're overwhelmed. I think that was a pretty safe decision and a safe bet for both teams. I mean, we're just kind of that situation is fine, I think, because we're just kind of inching the tower forward. Like there's not much happening just yet.
Yeah. So, and now here we go. This is where the tables really start to turn, though, as we do see 3 players go down on the side of Ohio State. And now Purdue moving up together as a unit. And now it's just going to be this machine up top that really can't do anything here. So now what Purdue is going to have to end up doing here is, first of all, they need to just start to get pressure up on this machine and start to kind of establish a bit of a front on the plat and make it really difficult, because Hammerhead is just a long, narrow bridge. It's going to make it a lot easier to push this tower if you're able to just establish essentially a wall of players. That's going to make it really difficult. And that's also going to allow you to have your supports pivot into individual fights.
Right. I mean, to your point as well, with this, with Andriel being alone, that sloshing machine. I mean, honestly, like this is Purdue's big shining moment, like to just seize this opportunity and grab it, because Andriel is rendered almost useless here. All they could do right now is, as you could see, is just sit and throw fizzies, and that's only going to go so far when they're not being supported by teammates.
Yeah, and here we could also just continue to see Purdue once again kind of just moving up slowly, just as a fortified wall here. Aster, Hume, Barry, and Toasty, and they're all in a position just to be able to help each other out now. Ohio State's starting to get a little bit antsy as they have lost that lead, and that's natural in this state, but you need to be able to maintain that composure and utilize the height to your advantage in these positions here, especially with Barry on that E-leader. It's going to be a little bit trickier to just navigate those ledges. You're not going to quite get as many opportunities to open up. So what they probably should be considering here, especially with this blast that had just gone down, possibly trying to even set up a flank to force that wall to break a little bit and back up, force Purdue to back up just a bit.
Oh, I see what you're trying to do now.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm watching stream right now. DRF, I just have to point this out to you because chat is also pointing this out.
Oh no, I can't see chat right now. We're trying to think, so I don't know.
It's flipped. It's backwards.
Yes, I'm aware that it is backwards, and there's not a way to quite fix that, so we're gonna roll with it.
Oh my god.
So we're doing a little bit of experimentation, so.
No, listen, we are sacrificing some quality to gain more quality.
Exactly. So, this is something that I've always wanted to try, the John Madden special here. Bring out the pens and let's go ahead and trace out the map here. But unfortunately with Discord, whenever you have a video feed, it flips it around. I think there's a way to flip it, but you have to jump through a couple hurdles.
Oh my god.
So, but
Anyways.
I think this is a cool feature. We could like I said, a little bit of experimentation.
All right, let's press play. I mean, great use here of the cornering, just taking advantage of the fact that Andriel here was all alone. I think that was part of a mispositioning here that Purdue was able to take advantage of, right? I mentioned earlier how Andriel was left alone during that 3-down situation, and you saw that the blaster was trying to jump in and immediately got sniped by Barry because they were jumping in. It was a clean shot, right? And honestly, it's really fortunate that they were able to kind of come back and were able to hold them off up until like the second checkpoint here. It's really impressive.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, kind of getting that second checkpoint is tricky here, especially because Okamu with that E-Leader as well, be able to contest that from a safer distance. The key thing for Ohio State's backlines, they need to keep an eye out for Barry at all times, because obviously E-Leader versus E-Leader, that's just not going to be a great matchup there, especially when Barry is your opponent.
Right, exactly. I mean, like, it's always something you have to keep an eye out for, right? Not just the skill level of the player, right? But I guess the presence of an anchor or a charger or an explo or whatever it may be. I think it's just a constant reminder of how you should be playing with your teammates and not being left alone and isolated where someone can surprise and snipe you or chip you out of nowhere.
Yeah, and oh man, and Barry actually getting a really nice pick there at the bottom of the screen, on the junior, just at point blank range there, and that's something that Barry shouldn't necessarily be winning in these situations. Ohio State really should have followed that up actually by having a second player there, because Barry's able to take on one person. Can they take on two in that short of a ranged area?
I think here's something that ONSU, if you were to pause right here, they kind of fall into the same situation as they did in the prior Purdue push. They are clumped up in that top left area where, because they're clumped up there for a reason. I think it's because they're clumped up there to kind of hide from Barry's eye of sight for the charger, right? I think it's like, hiding behind a corner. But also, while that's advantageous to kind of, not be threatened by the charger, they're also threatened by Hume sloshing, just, that arch reaching over them and getting, picks on them and getting paint over them. And then not to mention, of course, Aster, running through and, taking advantage of them all being clumped up and just kind of encircled around each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, and Aster was just able to cause some havoc there, and it just ended up not being pretty. And here is that crucial wipeout. So getting those 4 down, this is what ultimately results in the snowball effect that is going to be Purdue getting this to be a knockout in the end. That last checkpoint is going to fall with ease. Aster has basically reached the furthest that he can possibly go here. Barry Hume gonna play right in the middle between Aster and Barry, just to provide that extra support there. And there you go. That is going to be essentially how Purdue got out of an early hole there and forced their way to a knockout.
Right. I mean, it's just great execution overall. Once they're able to kind of find their footing, and once they were able to get through that second checkpoint after punishing some key mistakes that ONSU made at that second time, right? They were clumped up yet again in that same situation instead of trying something different, a different way of approaching things. And at the end of the day, Purdue was more capable of punishing their opponent's mistakes.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us here at the analyst desk for now. So hopefully, that is an interesting feature that we could try to refine and use in the future there. But we do have another matchup on deck in about 2 minutes. It is going to be the University of Washington taking on UT Dallas in Division 1. We're going to take a short break to get that set up. You do not want to miss this.
Hello everyone, and welcome into our second matchup in our doubleheader, our Saturday night doubleheader. I am Mizuno here with DRF. DRF, tell us, who do we have on the lineup today?
Yeah, so for our second game of the doubleheader, we have the Husky Splatsville Knights of the University of Washington taking on the Neo Comet Blasters of UT Dallas. This is going to hopefully be a pretty good matchup here. The Neo Comet Blasters, CCA favorites, as they have been around for I think we're approaching a year now for the Neo Comet Blasters.
I believe you're right because they've been around since some of our older tournaments. I believe they participated in a Rush weekend event, I think back in like mid 2021
Mm,
or late 2021.
they, I would. They probably
It's
came
been,
around, I think, with the Booyah Bowl, is what I want to
oh,
say.
oh, you know
So,
what? Yeah, the Booyah Bowl was like in October of last year.
let's see.
Or
January. January. It was like the second week of January, I want to say.
oh, it's
So,
second week of January. Man, it feels like October. It felt like a year ago at this point. So many events.
yes. So March Madness was their first tournament, actually, as Ink is letting us know in chat there. But yeah, they've been around for quite longer than most collegiate teams have. But we are going to be heading into our game number 1, as we all know, tower control on Hammerhead Bridge. Ollie with that signature bamboo coming out. Mizuno, what else are you noticing here?
Oh gosh, I see Return of the Jet. That is a great pick. So we have the Husky Splatsville Knights in the pink and UT Comet Blasters on the green. Did I just see that just right? Do I see a GooTuber Clash Blob
Yes.
combination from UTD? The Comet Blasters, my goodness, those are some risky picks, but honestly, I think we're all here for some variety here, and I think it's paying off already because 2 are down on the side of the Splatsville Knights.
Yeah, it actually really is paying off very quickly here, as we do see the Splatsville Knights making a move up into the plat of the Neo Comet Blasters. Neo Comet Blasters trying to get some ink down in a hurry. They do get the pick on the bamboo, which is a very crucial person to be picking off in Ollie, but they need to make a move towards this tower before those teammates can respawn and get back on here. And it looks like they're going to find a couple of crucial picks. That's going to be 3 down, and that will be a nice stop there for the Neo Comet Blasters. 32 remaining though in the first push. That's 2 checkpoints that are going to be falling, and now Neo Comet Blasters 4 minutes to work their way out of this massive deficit.
They're moving in quickly though, DRF. You already see the blobs throwing and hurling ink right across up into the top here. And you see the Tri and Blob trying to work together against this Trizuka here. And you already see it paying dividends because now 2 went down on the side of the Splatsville Knights here. Right as I say that, now it's completely flipped. 2 down on the side of UT Dallas. And this push is coming to a grinding halt.
But they did get that first checkpoint, and especially with early pushes, I think that's really the most crucial thing that these teams need to get out of their pushes. Of course, now they're still down 1 checkpoint, but that is a fairly acceptable push for your first time out. But now they definitely need to stop Washington here before they can get back to where they had left off, and they're gonna have to really maintain their numbers. And life is your most important asset in a game, especially when you're on the back foot, and they're going to be able to keep themselves alive. I don't know how Noob's doing this, but Noob with the GooTuber able to get a sweet double there, and that is going to allow the Neo Comet Blasters back into mid. It looks like that Washington was able to get a few more points on the board, but if I'm Neo Comet Blasters, I'm okay with this.
I mean, that was some great plays by Noob there on the GooTuber. I want to point out here, the GooTuber wasn't actually taking fully charged shots. Rather, they were utilizing the chip damage from the torpedo and creating tap shots to secure 3 of those kills there. So not the way you would expect a GooTuber to be utilized based off of, what the GooTuber is at its fundamental core. But it truly worked out into gaining back that momentum. And now you see here, UT Dallas trying to create something out of that impressive play there. We do see some pressure here from the side of Splatsville Knights, activating the Killer Whale and taking down 2 on the side of the Comet Blasters here, completely stopping any attempt of another push.
Oh, and this machine is going up, and they are looking for as many kills as they can on the plat. They're trying to play ahead of the rest of their team. If they can open up this window, that's going to be huge, but it is not going to pay off quite as they had hoped there, getting the 1 pick, but now they're seeing that their team is in a numbers deficit. But they are maintaining a little bit of control of mid, so I think it's okay that they made that risky play, because the Neo Comet Blasters, the ball's in their court right now to make the play, get the picks, and start pushing up. So as long as University of Washington, they're not seeing themselves in a massive deficit, they'll be okay right now.
Right, exactly. And you try to see, you saw right there, the Tri-Slosher trying to create a play with that inkjet, but because no one was trying to help the Tri-Slosher take advantage of that inkjet chip, nothing was really able to come out of it as they were taken down immediately. Now you see the Splatsville Knights once again using that ink vac, making their way to that final checkpoint. And like we saw in the prior game, Boilermaker Special versus OnSU, once you get through that third checkpoint, it's almost game over, and that tower just rolls in like butter.
Oh, yeah, and here it is, the last stand, but no, it's gonna be the Blob that's gonna make a big play here and get the double, and that's gonna be the wipeout for UT Dallas. They're gonna be able to now work their way back into mid. They need to just paint everything. That is the objective for the team right now. With 20 seconds to go, you need to buy yourself as much turf to play on as possible, because now this tower is gonna go coast to coast if they want a shot to win this game.
Almost like new life has been breathed onto UT Dallas right now. They are moving in as a unit, trying to gain back paint. And this momentum is carrying through. Two go down on the side of the Splatsville Knights, and the inkjet is out with the rain. All this chip damage is coming in, and Splatsville Knights only has one special online ready to go to stop this tower. One more go down on the side of Splatsville Knights. DRF, are we going to see a reverse sweep here on this map?
All I'm saying is, if you watched Bronze Division B last season, UT Dallas has them right where they want them, but they're gonna have to survive this killer whale. It's gonna be a 3v3, and no, that's a triple! They come back! The Neo Comet Blasters, the comeback kings of the CCA, do it once again in Game 1 of Season 2.
Oh my god, you would think with the impossible, with how much UT Dallas had struggled. Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wow, what a... First of all, look at the synergy of their emotes there. That was simply fantastic. No, they didn't break a sweat during that match. Not at all. Wow, what a stand from UT Dallas. I'm floored.
My heart is racing right now. And I mean, I was trying to get that out there as well, but if you know the Neo Comet Blasters, you know they thrive in the biggest of deficits. They will find a way to dig out of any hole that you put them in, and you can never, ever count out the Neo Comet Blasters. And they make a statement here in game number 1. And my goodness, we're gonna have to see if they can hold this going into game 2, which we're looking at Rainmaker on Museum de Alfonsino.
Like I said, you would think, first of all, we have to talk about this final stand. You would think that the Splatsville Knights had them completely pinned up against the wall, taking the tower all the way down to 4 points and nearly knocking them out. Again, that tower just slides right in like butter. Like, it just completely, the floor is just greased up. You would think having to just muster up that energy and that focus to completely, like you said, take the tower coast to coast from one end of the map to the complete other end in overtime. The absolute clutch factor that UT Dallas had to muster up there was just simply out of this world. And now you see 40 seconds in the timer here in this lobby, and you now just see teams readying up. I think people are kind of shook right now.
Oh,
These
man.
players are shook.
But the thing that we are seeing here though is that the Huskies, they're ready to roll. UT Dallas is gonna run out this timer, trying to change their comp or do something different. You know, and it's a little bit difficult to try to figure out exactly what UT Dallas can do differently. I know that you know, we know that they have quite a few different weapons in their pockets, and it looks like they're just gonna run out this timer completely. So hopefully they're able to make the adjustments that they had hoped to do, but we'll just have to see here. I don't know, you know, what else you could do after that last game.
Right, exactly. I think with how ready and prepared the Huskies were in just readying and lobbying up, they're kind of going with, hold on, wait, I was thinking they would go with what they know. They made some really quick picks. We see Sammy now on the pro and Juani on the gal now. I think those are some pretty impressive changes in the orange. Meanwhile, UT Dallas going for a slightly more traditional. I don't know how much more traditional can you get with this comp, but it's pretty impressive. But I mean, the blob is still there, and I really like the dapples comp.
Oh yeah, and here we go. It is an early 3 down for UT Dallas. So now it's going to be Washington taking this all the way up to the first checkpoint. They're going to get that one easy. But now it's going to be the Neo Comet Blasters that have to respond here. Are they going to be able to stop this Rainmaker, or are they going to let more points slip?
Right, exactly. And this is like, again, the finals, this is like the stand that they have to make once again. They do have to work around this spinner, the Huskies do, with navigating this Rainmaker around. And wow, what a play from Spam right there with the VDS taking down, what was that, 3 members of the Huskies there? That was a very clutch play and desperately needed for UT Dallas right there.
Oh, absolutely. They do let about an extra point slip there, so it is going to be up to them to get to the checkpoint and continue a push beyond that. At least meaningful push beyond the checkpoint. They aren't going to be able to just inch it forward. But they do make their first move with that Rainmaker. Their Spam once again getting a nice pick with those dapples. And now they're looking for the second pick. There it is, but they are going to get shut down by the Panic Killer Whale there. At least that's what it kind of felt like. And now that Rainmaker will be resetting, and this is back to a neutral game.
Right, exactly. Now we're back at this point where there's just, I mean, if you look at the map right now, there's just constant blues and oranges. It's so difficult to tell who has the true ground here. So this resetting moment in the middle of this match, as the timer is at 3 minutes, is going to be crucial. We do see on the side of the Huskies 3 specials online, geared up and ready to go. If this sounds like the moment to strike, the crab tank is being popped and the killer whale, I think the Huskies are getting ready to gear up for another push.
Oh, but those specials, none of them translate to a pick there. They might have actually gotten 1, but they're going to lose 2 members themselves to the Blobber, and now it's going to be a 2v2 situation. So University of Washington is going to find themselves a little bit of a break there, because that could have actually tumbled into a UT Dallas push. But now it's actually going to be Ollie that is leading the charge here. They're going to bring this all the way back up to that first checkpoint. Can they find more points than what they found the first time? Yes, they do. And this Rainmaker is going forward all the way to 42 points remaining. And that is a much better push.
Right, exactly. You saw Ollie kind of struggling there to kind of paint the floor for the Rainmaker, because it was just the Rainmaker and Ollie trying to create a push. What a nice pick there onto Sammy from the Charger player right here from UT Dallas. But I mean, UT Dallas is still in a lot of trouble right now, because the Charger going down to the Rainmaker pop from the Rainmaker explosion.
Oh man, but they're very fortunate right now. This could be a much bigger push, and they are going to find 11 more points. Ollie going to be sacrificing themselves to get those points here. But it's still a 2v2, and it is going to be the Huskies that do find the pick there on the with the Rainmaker, and they're going to push that all the way to 11 remaining. But now comes the crucial question. Can the Neo Comet Blasters do it again in the face of adversity?
Oh man, this is like setting up to be the absolute Cinderella story of a lifetime here, DRF. I mean, you cannot picture this more perfectly, but I think with the Huskies positioning right now, 1 minute left to go, UT Dallas is going to have to really climb out of a giant hole here to gain back some of this ground that they have lost, to kind of get rid of the pressure that Ollie's exerting right now. The Rainmaker pressure putting them back on the back foot here, basically. I mean, they have a lot of fighting to do here in these next 40 seconds.
Yeah, they're going to have to get a couple of these crucial picks and stay alive, most importantly. First of all, got to shut down this Rainmaker, which is just not going to happen. They're going to lose 3 members, and that's going to be a wipe. This is going to be an opportunity now for the Huskies to look for that knockout. They don't quite need it at this stage. They just need to hold on to this Rainmaker for 15 more seconds, but the knockout is coming in, and there it is. The Huskies answer back, tying the set 1 game apiece.
Ooh, I was getting really worried for the Huskies there. If they weren't able to, if they were to die at that instant, holding on to that Rainmaker, and that we were going to see the same game 1 situation that UTD pulled, I was getting a little scared. But what a great way to demonstrate and the execution and the strength of the Huskies right there. That was a great showing, and they know how to play Rainmaker. Truly, they fed the Rainmaker I think personally, they fed it at the proper moments when they needed to get those crucial points.
Yeah, no, they absolutely did. Um, and I think especially when you have such experienced players on your team for the Huskies, you're not going to be making that same mistake twice. The Neo Comet Blasters may be the comeback champions of the CCA League. They've done it time and time again, but you have someone like Ollie on the other team. They're not gonna let that happen. Like, do it once, shame on me, but we're not letting that happen.
Right, exactly. Now we're moving on to a very interesting game 3. Clam Blitz Eel Tail Alley. God, Splatoon and Nintendo with these tongue twister names. Drives me crazy. But anyways, you already see the Huskies lined up in 30 seconds in the lobby. They are already geared up, ready to go, prepared to take, seize the day. I'm curious if they're going to kind of stick to what they are usually running, or if they're going to completely swap out weapons, barring Ollie, of course, staying true to the bamboo as per usual.
Yeah, I think they found a good comp that's they can work with, and even what they were working with in game number 1. I think that was just fine. It's just the positioning sort of fell apart. You get a little bit flustered. I think that's much more on the communication aspects that really fell apart in that first game. In game 2, everything was a lot more solid. You only let the Neo Comet Blasters pick up the Rainmaker, I think, twice in the whole game. So that, I think, you just kind of need to rinse and repeat at this stage. Clam Blitz Eel Tail Alley, as we've seen, a little bit of an interesting map mode. Purdue did a fantastic job of holding a sustained push, where we had talked about that might be a focal point for these teams, is that it could be difficult to hold the push for longer than just getting a few clams in. But we'll kind of have to see how these two teams go about this.
Right, exactly. Taking a look at these compositions here, we have the Huskies in the bright orange and the Comet Blasters, UTD, in the purple. We see UTD rocking a brush and blob and clash. That is a lot of chip damage. Meanwhile, we notice here the Huskies in the orange, the tried and true bamboo with paired up with the Jet, Gal, and T-Tech. So a fairly standard composition otherwise, and somewhat familiar to what we've seen before from the Huskies, with kind of a couple of shooters, an anchor backline paired up with the bamboo. So this is not unfamiliar. I mean, all of a sudden, though, we're only 30 seconds into the match, and 2 go down on the side of the Huskies, and the Comet Blasters are gearing up for a push to that basket.
Oh, and here comes the Zipcaster trying to open the door for the Neo Comet Blasters, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they're going to be able to find anything. So that is going to be a Zipcaster that goes to waste for the Neo Comet Blasters. And their window that they were first looking at is definitely closed now, as we now see they go 2 down themselves, and the Huskies are looking to flip this one on its head real fast, and they're going to go ahead and get the first push now.
What a great use of the Trizuka with the Killer Whale, trying to get some players moving on the side of UT Dallas. That is creating tons of pressure, and following up with the Ink Bag. You could not ask for a better start for a push, and getting 35 clams into the basket. I would say if you're the Huskies right now, you'd feel pretty good about that push.
Yeah, that was an excellent push. 35 remaining. You could end up being exactly what wins it for them. But now it is up to the Neo Comet Blasters. They're looking at a deficit once more. Can they find their comfort zone here? We know that they're good in adversity, but you can't be making sloppy plays like that, as we see the Autobomb going to be taking out the Clash. And now the Zipcaster as well, not going to be able to do much, and this is going to be a 3-down situation for the Neo Comet Blasters.
It's little things that sometimes, like, you would think that these big mistakes would contribute to just such, to points lost, but it's even something as little as, I did not see the Autobomb there, like, I am straight up blind, and I think that just happened. There was just a quick moment for UT Dallas where the player was they were just completely not noticing that the Autobomb was just sitting right there. The audio cue didn't register or anything like that. little mistakes like that add up and lead to a giant punishment like this. The penalty is gone for the Huskies, and they added more points to the board, and the basket is still open.
6 clams will win it for the Huskies. They do have 3, and there are 3 more sitting right above the basket if they're able to get those in. 4 left is what they need, but this basket will close. The Neo Comet Blasters finding themselves in much bigger deficit than the last push. And now with 2 minutes to go, they have a mountain to climb.
A mountain indeed, but I think what's going to help this mountain is the fact that they have 4 specials. Right, as I say that, they did have 4 specials online ready to go, but they are just not finding the right opportunities to activate them and to initiate and gain back some ground that they have lost. Now we're back in a 2-down situation here. Make that 3 down. Almost all the specials that they had just gained are completely gone. They have to basically start from scratch again, and they're still sitting on a pity right now. And, I mean, regardless, there's still a lot of pressure from the Huskies that they are exerting, and they just can't move. The Comet Blasters just can't move right now.
Oh man, and there goes the ink back as well, but it is going to be the University of Washington able to slip through there. They're going to try to throw that second power climb, but it is not going to be any good. So now this is going to be another opportunity, another pity clamp for the Neo Comet Blasters to work with. They have yet to find that chance to get to the basket and score some points. It looks like they're going to make a move now, but no, that's not going to be any good. You can't just make a push off of 1 down. And now with a minute to go, they're restarting back at square one all the way from their base.
I mean, these situations just keep happening time and time again. Their history is repeating itself right now. Every time UT Dallas is looking for a way to get some points on the board, a little mishap happens and 2 go down. These constant little mistakes, they add up quick, and it leads to the downfall. The Huskies are going to take game number 3 with a clean knockout, 100-0 against the UT Dallas Comet Blasters.
Oh man, that was a very, very clean game for the Huskies. It took them, 3 or 4 pushes to get there, but they never let up. That was the biggest thing. The Neo Comet Blasters, they saw maybe 1 chance there to get to the basket. They just were never able to quite get full control of mid, and you're going to have to be able to do that if you want to push up and give yourself the basket. You can't score if you don't have any map control. I mean, I suppose you could if you have like a brush or whatnot, but they weren't even able to leverage that octo brush to set up any jumps or get a quick score in. That's just how good the Huskies were on defense.
I was gonna say UT Dallas wasn't really able to take advantage of the comp because I really liked their composition and their makeup with the brush combination and the clash with the chip damage and the poking behind, in between and behind corners. I thought that was a great way to kind of address this map. But they just weren't able to take advantage of it because all these little things, they weren't able to address the paint pressure or just, just the overwhelming kind of, response from the Huskies and the constant front that they were able to pull, right? Just holding down that line, holding down the line right there and then, and just slowly inching up. I think that's something that UT Dallas is going to have to prepare and make amends for as they move on into this Game 4 match in Splatzville Sturgeon Shipyard.
Yeah, and this is a pivotal moment for the Neo Comet Blasters. They need to get this win to keep themselves in it. I mean, they I don't know about putting themselves in a 1-3 deficit and then trying to come back from that. I would much rather try to even up the set now. So we'll have to kind of see how this one plays out, but I'm definitely anticipating. I'm shaking it up once again. Who knows? Maybe the GooTube will come back. The lucky GooTuber that helped them get that win. So let's take a look at what these teams bring out for us on Splatzone's Sturgeon Shipyard.
An all too familiar map for those who were playing in the Splatoon 2 meta here. We got the Huskies in the yellow-green. I don't know what color that is. And then we got UT Dallas in the purple. We're seeing a little bit of a similar comp from game 2 from the Huskies here with the pro and gal combo. Meanwhile, with UTD, we see the Blob and Try with, is that a 96 gal I see? Now that is a pick. I can appreciate that pick. And I think, wow, already there's a bit of a fight going on for the zone here with constant backs and forth and trades going in already. I mean, this is just a bloodbath for the zone.
Oh, and that's gonna be 3 down for the Neo Comet Blasters plus the jump out. And now this could just be an early lockout opportunity for the Huskies to try to run away with game number 4 just a minute into this game.
Right, I think the setup was just simply great from the Huskies there. I mean, look at this lockout execution that they're trying to perform. The gal might have just slightly overextended going past their wall, getting a little greedy to get that pick because the Blob had the special there. Meanwhile, we see UT Dallas looking to gain some sort of ground. They have a bubble. They have a couple of specials to work with here as the timer is ticking down to 30 penalty points left. A crucial pick on the Jet here.
No!
Oh no, but the Junior has taken the ball right into the pin, and that is a loss of a special, and there's only 10 points left. Can UT Dallas take this?
Oh, they get the neutral, but it's not going to be any good. And the Huskies run away early with this game number 4. That's going to be 3-1, and they are now at match point.
Wow. I was just going to say, I thought UT Dallas had the perfect setup to get back into the zone, right? They had a bubbler, and the Junior just got a crucial pick on the Jet for overextending. That was a great punishment. But of course, you sometimes the controller slips, you slip, there's just one patch of ink down, and you just take a tumble into the pit, and you just got Sturgeon Shipyard. Ouch. That has got to hurt. I feel for that Junior right now.
Yeah, it was a good pick too. It's unfortunate they just weren't able to capitalize on it. But now the Neo Comet Blasters really get to put the title of comeback champions to the test. Can they dig themselves out of this 1-3 hole, or will the Huskies be able to put this one away in game number 5 on tower control, Mako Mart?
Right, this is all about that momentum, right? We talk a lot about momentum in a league because these games and these sets are so crucial in determining like the way that players play, right? If you are in if you're in the set, you are down 0-2, you're frazzled. You could be frazzled, you could be worried about, you know, hey, should we try something different? Maybe something is just not quite working. Are we able to, maybe we should try to adjust something, you know, something else, right? They're like acts of desperation to kind of get back control, get back that momentum, and feel like you are in the driver's seat and you are steering your way over to victory, right? Now we're in this situation, this 3-1 situation. There is a glimmer of hope for UT Dallas. There is a ton of potential here to take some games.
Yeah, and it's really now or never to take these games. Tower control is where we did see the Neo Comet Blasters find victory in game number 1. So this could be an opportunity to try to, you know, get some footing back. But the Huskies are on a roll right now, and it's gonna take a lot to stop them. I think that the Huskies have really started to gel together in this set, and they are finding the answers that they were looking for after game number 1, and they've answered them spectacularly. And now I just don't know if the Neo Comet Blasters quite have what's enough left in the tank to flip this one around.
Right, exactly. I think just the overall synergy that the Huskies have been able to not only establish, but also continue during this set, especially after such a devastating game 1 loss, where you just got a complete 180, like that has to rattle you a little bit for sure, thinking that you had that game in the bag and you have your lockdown procedures ready to go, and when that just doesn't happen, you would get frazzled. But instead, I mean, the Huskies have been able to kind of flip the switch on UT Dallas and have shown nothing but dominant performances here. And we are in for an exciting Game 5 matchup, DRF. I cannot wait.
Yeah, and we will go ahead and have to, let's see. We'll go have to and see here real quick. So heading into game number 5 in just a minute. Once again, the Neocom Blast is going to run out the timer.
Man, I wonder what frisky pick the Comet Blasters are gonna do now. Are we gonna see like a Luna? What have we not seen yet? Have we haven't seen an ink brush? I'm expecting nothing.
Yeah, I think having no expectations is the best way to kind of go into this one. And taking a look here, the NZAP, I think this might be the first time we're seeing an NZAP here.
Yeah, you're right. We have not seen an NZAP in this specific set. Comet Blasters in the blue indigo and the Huskies in the yellow. We see the GooTuber actually returning on the side of the Comet Blasters, and on the side of the Huskies, we do see that Vanilla Jet Bamboo synergy that they have continued to use during this set. And we already see 2 go down on the side of the Comet Blasters. This is probably not the way that they anticipated this match starting for them.
Yeah, definitely not. But they still have a lot of time and a lot of space to work with here. So, you know, they can't be panicking quite yet. The GooTuber, obviously the return of the GooTuber here is going to provide them a little bit more mobility with their backline. So they're going to have to, you know, really take advantage of that here. And especially if they can get some of these drinks in as well, hopefully that's just going to provide them with a lot more options and be able to get some stuff done here as we do see those charges trade.
Right, UT Dallas is playing very patiently. They're trying not to make any mistakes or sudden kind of, you know, snap decisions. Otherwise, they're probably afraid of this tower just running away from them. And I think that paid off because while the Huskies were able to push all the way to that second checkpoint, UT Dallas is able to hold their ground and they didn't take too many losses from that push.
No, they really didn't, but 32 remaining is going to be a little bit difficult to overcome, but, you know, definitely not unheard of here on Maple Mart. So the key thing is that they did stop them before that second checkpoint slip, but now they're going to have to just make sure that they can, you know, stay alive, find themselves a couple of picks, and start getting on this tower, start moving it up a little bit. You know, it looks like they managed to get some of that juice from the Tacticooler to help them out here, but they weren't able to quite capitalize on it. But it is going to be the try that makes a huge double play here. Can they get the triple? That's a wipe! And the Neo Comet Blasters are now on the offensive. They are going to ride through this first checkpoint, mostly uncontested here, but it is going to be a little bit of a trade, a 1-for-1 opportunity there, and they do break through that first checkpoint. The Tacticooler on the tower, trying to give them a little bit of protection, but they go 3 down anyways. So this push is just about done for the Neo Comet Blasters, but they were able to finally get something on the board following that wipeout.
What a great play by the Tri-Slosher and support from their teammates to put so much pressure in driving the Huskies sloshing machine away from that stack and getting a crucial play. That type of play you can easily pull off again, and that might be the Comet Blasters' answer to getting more points on the board and taking back the lead. We do see the sloshing machine here struggling against the Tri here, just trying to hold their ground on the stack, not giving it up, but just ulting to back up and regain control with their teammates.
The Neo Comet Blasters do find a nice couple of picks here, so now we are going to see more points on the board, and that is a beautiful trade there. And now the Neo Comet Blasters are going to be able to push this all the way up to the second checkpoint. But they are going to constantly, I guess, get a few different trades here. They need the trades, though. I'm not sure if they're quite working in their advantage at this stage. They're going to have to live through these killer whales as well. The Tri able to get a couple of more picks there, and those picks were huge. But this push seems just about over. They do have the Tacticooler juice working with them, but it seems like that they're going to have to go into full reset mode and find one more opportunity in the closing minute to get back the lead.
What a great play by the Huskies and Zab, moving into that tower in time, in tandem with the killer whale. That was a great play and great use of synergy there, and I think that was able to actually prevent them from losing that checkpoint there. And I think that was just a great instance of communication, and I think it really paid off for the Huskies. As we see now, UT Dallas is still on the back foot with 50 seconds to go, and having a third try now at trying to get back at this lead.
Oh man, with Momo here, They are doing a fantastic job of just keeping the pressure up. But no, they had a point-blank inkjet shot that just wasn't able to convert in time. 30 seconds to go, and they're going to find themselves 3 down. So this is going to be a good reset for the Huskies to try and close this one out. But it's time is going to be running out for them. For the newcomers, but another wipe!
The crucial wipe. Oh my god, we are in for another. Are we in for a game 1 Hammerhead TC match again? We see the tactical are activated on the tower. Both teams have 2 down. This is a do or die match.
It's a 1v1!
It's a 1v1.
But the Booyah Bomb gonna clutch this one out! They get it! The Huskies will win the set 4-1 with the clutch Booyah Bomb.
Wow. Okay. For a second, I thought we were in for a repeat of game 1 from this set, but no. The sloshing machine was just able to stay alive just long enough to get that Booyah ready to go, to stop the push then and there, and calling that game good. Wow, that must have been, wow, just wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm right there with you. Just wow. You know, it really seemed like the Neo Comet Blasters were going to put it together there at the last minute. Another tower control comeback miracle. But the Huskies were ready this time. They knew that they needed something to stop them at the last moment, and that Booyah Bomb, I think that you know, there must have been a call made there that, you know, that Booyah Bomb needs to stay alive. Whatever you do, stay alive. Don't even try to take any fights. We need that Booyah Bomb in order to get control of this tower before they get the lead. And I think that was just a fantastic play call there for the Huskies to close the set out. The Neo Comp Blasters, you know, it's one of those things where everyone might not be quite familiar with kits yet and whatnot, but they need to be looking at those specials and saying, oh, that Booyah Bomb's going to cause us some trouble. We need some backup here. We need to be able to either take them out or have someone ready to jump on the tower and kind of go through the Booyah Bomb if necessary.
Right, exactly. Just, again, great play call and great decision making on the side of the Huskies, right? That is experience at play, understanding when to go in with your special versus holding back and reserving it for a key opportune moment. And the Huskies were able to play that and execute that perfectly to secure the set. Now, DRF, I don't think we're looking at now Rainmaker Hagglefish. I think these teams are continuing a CCA tradition. Why don't you tell us about it, DRF?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this was a little bit of a tradition that was started, I don't even quite remember between what 2 teams. I want to say probably Penn State and ITAP, if I had to guess, were the first ones to do it.
I believe it was Penn State who started it, yes.
Yeah, so here at the CCA, we love to see sportsmanship. It's just, you know, one thing that's always important in sports and esports alike. So these 2 teams are going to go ahead and play out all 7 games just for the fun of it at this point. Might as well, we've gathered here to put on a show. Why not take it to all 7 games?
I love this tradition so much too, because not only is it a great demonstration of sportsmanship, but also it's a demonstration of entertainment and respect for each other, right? I think, like you said, these teams have taken the time out of their crazy college lives to gather and play the game that we love. And they both put on such a fantastic showing and demonstration of their skills as teams from their universities. And now it's time to say, hey, we can either experiment with some comps a bit, play these games out and gain some experience and knowledge, or just have some fun with it. I mean, we've seen teams from the prior season whip out, what was it? Wasn't it Quad Explo?
It was the Octo Explo.
Octo Explo, that's right.
Yes, so that was quite the experience to witness. But taking a look here early on, we do see that it is the Huskies that are able to get first control of this Rainmaker. They're going to try to make a move for the Rainmaker here, but they're not going to be able to get it before it resets. So it's going to be a 3v3 situation as these teams try to fight for control of mid. And we're going to see the hammer just pop out and be instantly thrown there. Not even going to try to play around with that hitbox.
This map and this map mode combo is so difficult to engage in because you are completely locked out by those two giant blocks in the middle of the zone here. And that narrow line of sight is so difficult to navigate, right? You see players just trying to peek the corners and find the right situation to kind of surprise their opponents. And it's so difficult to take advantage of. And now we see finally, after 2 minutes, finally someone is about to approach the checkpoint. UT Dallas looking to take that first check, but is unsuccessful, fruitless in their efforts.
Yeah, but they do get the lead here, and as we've kind of seen in, especially with the set yesterday, both of these teams are really trying to push for that center checkpoint, and that is, you know, it's right in front of you. It's so tempting, you know, it's just the lowest hanging fruit. But sometimes you can't go for that. You know, there is the second pedestal that you have to swing all the way to the far left for, and it makes the overall route longer, but it is a much safer checkpoint to go for, at least from what I've seen here in the early life of Splatoon 3.
Right, exactly, and that decision making comes down from, I think, players are having this tunnel vision mindset. Right? This might be the tunnel vision mindset coming to play, though, where this is a perfect checkpoint opportunity. It's right in front of you, but so is your opponent. They're right there waiting for you right at spawn to stop you, and all of a sudden you think UTD would get a clutch checkpoint here. Instead, they don't even make it, and they go 3 down. Oh, now 4 in a delayed wipe.
Yeah, they had the right idea there. That was the opportunity to go for that center checkpoint, and here it is, the sneaky Rainmaker grab. They're finally able to convert on it. So that is a huge play for the Comet Blasters, as now they are going to find a couple of other picks with that hammer, but ultimately that push is going to be shut down for good. So now it's going to be the Huskies of the University of Washington that are looking for their first checkpoint as well. 2v2 is what it stands right now. And that checkpoint is not going to fall quite yet, as the Squeezers is able to shut down that play. And that is a huge stop for the Neo Comet Blasters.
Right, exactly. Right before that checkpoint, Noob opts to take the Rainmaker and dump it into the lake, river, ocean, body of water surrounding the map in hopes of resetting the Rainmaker and giving the players a bigger chance of gaining back control of mid. We see a very frisky grab here on the side of the Huskies here, with only one player on the map supporting them. The hammer comes out in an attempt to stop the Rainmaker from going any more forward, but is fruitless in their efforts because Stamp sucks. And now the Rainmaker is kind of sitting here in the open, exposed, and just flailing around.
Oh, that's going to be a 3 down situation now for the Huskies. And the Neo Comet Blasters are trying to get back a little bit of map control here, and they should be able to get a push off with a couple of these specials online. This tactical is ready as well if they can just get back to their teammates, but it's not going to be any helpful to have a tactical if you're all down. And now this is the first checkpoint that is falling for the University of Washington, and they should be able to get the lead as well, plus the jumping it all the way to 29 points remaining, heading straight for the pedestal. 15 points now, and that's where this Rainmaker is going to stop. But the Neo Comet Blasters are 3 down, and this should result in a knockout.
Wow, and that was just the straw that broke the camel's back there, DRF. That one crucial moment. And then not to mention, like, you see, again, like, that checkpoint is just right there, and you got to gun for it when the opportunity strikes. And that was the right opportunity for the Huskies right there. And what a great knockout right there. I mean, just at being so patient all that game, and then to finally have their efforts be paid off at the end there. It's props, just props.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I think I guess just to be fair, for how teams have been approaching, you know, Rainmaker Hagglefish, while I do think it is safer to swing that Rainmaker to the left-hand side, we did see that with that jump, that is why you go for the center pedestal. You know, it is a lot riskier. However, if you are successful in making that jump, then, you know, it's 30 points remaining, I think is what that ended up being there. And
right.
That's just a huge help So it is a lot riskier. It's high risk, high reward. But if you need to just get a clean, easy checkpoint, swing it to the left, folks. At least that's what I've been interpreting here early on. You can't just hold forward.
Right, exactly. That second that the difference between the two checkpoints, I think also is kind of demonstrates the decision-making process that these teams often have, right? Just that tunnel vision mindset. You go straight for what's in front of you, but you fail to examine the area around you. And I think a lot of teams are kind of struggling with that right now because not a lot of teams are taking that left hand side when those efforts could be also very helpful at the end of the day. So I think maybe in the next coming weeks, as this meta continues to evolve, as the game continues to kind of settle in, we might see some different types of play here for either one of those checkpoints.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still early on in Splatoon 3. And these map modes in the CCA League could be coming back up in future weeks, even in the playoffs. So there is definitely some studying to be done by everybody in the community, especially with these teams knowing 5 weeks in advance what they'll be playing. You should definitely be doing your homework there and trying to optimize the strategies and routes that are going to pay off the most.
Speaking of controversy here, we are heading into the Game 7 map, which I think is not very pleasing to a lot of folks right now. That being said, this map list was made 2 weeks ago, so give us a break. This is Clam Blitz on Mincemeat Metalworks, and man, what a spot for Game 7 to have your match on such an intensive and focused map mode combo that is Clam Blitz Mincemeat. What was our decision-making process here? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess we have some idea of what the decision-making progress was, or process. There we go. But all that mostly stemmed around Splatoon 2 maps and stuff like that. But every map mode here should deserve a little bit of fair game. I know Mincemeat Clam Blitz has emerged as an early, unpopular choice.
Well, hold on. Teams can't be complaining right now because you are seeing the Comet Blasters not even a minute into this match, and they have already popped the basket here. I don't know what these teams are complaining about now. You should follow what UT Dallas just did.
Or the Huskies.
Or excuse me, not the... Excuse me. Oh my god. The Huskies. I did not mention the colors early on in this match. Forgive me. The Huskies being led by the NZAP. That pick just completely derailed my thoughts. Oh my god, what a fantastic pick.
Oh man, the 2-for-1 special. Big sales here at Mincemeat Metalworks. 2 for the price of 1 on that Charger pick. Wow, that was beautiful to see. But they unfortunately just not able to convert that into much quite yet. But getting 2 down once more, this could be the opportunity now for the Comet Blasters of UT Dallas to make a move towards the basket. They don't quite have the economy on their side at this time, though, as we do see a bit of a trade. So now they're going to continue to just sort of inch their way forward towards the basket, hoping to kind of maintain a bit of position here. But these trades are working out in favor of the Huskies to just completely get UT Dallas out of their base.
Right, exactly. We keep talking about the types of kills versus trades that is happening. And UT Dallas right now, unfortunately, they can't afford to keep taking these trades. That's going to put them at a disadvantage and a numbers disposition. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden, UT Dallas is able to come up with a wipeout here. And now they're on the move, trying to scramble clams together. The clam economy is up and running. They are looking to pop the basket. But alas, it looks like they are too late and 2 go down. The Huskies recover very quickly after that wipeout.
Yeah, and that's one thing that the Comet Blasters, they're going to have to just go to the tapes and really study up on and see what they can address, because that's really been a focal point of struggle for them, is they can get the wipeouts, but they haven't been able to capitalize on these wipeouts. They are a little bit slow to the objective, and even when they do get control of the objective, they aren't able to get the lead back. They're able to put some points on the board, maybe get a checkpoint, maybe get close to the basket here. flip the zone for a few, but they haven't been able to turn those into sustained pushes, and that's really what's been their detriment so far in this set.
Right, exactly, and part of that definitely can be attributed to pacing. A lot of teams kind of struggle with that with this game, is just the pacing of when to approach, you know, these types of pushes, right? You just have to activate a switch when a wipeout happens, and you just got to go, go, go. And sometimes it's really difficult to do that when, say, you're not ready with the objective, right? You don't have control of the clam economy. You don't have a ball ready to pop up with the basket. Just sometimes those wipeouts happen at the most unfortunate times. So you're just not amply prepared to actually address the wipeout and take advantage of it.
You know, and I also just realized now that there is a reflux in this lobby. So you know, we'll have to keep track of the number of missiles that they end up popping here, and you know that could also be part of what's been slowing them down, as the reflux is able to find a sweet double, and that is going to be the Comet blasters that back up, make it a triple. Can't they complete the quad? They're looking for it. They're not able to get it, as the Charger's able to shut that down.
I was gonna say, I didn't realize that until all of a sudden we are in the player's perspective and we see them activate missiles ready to go. I mean, I don't blame the choice here though, because the missile pressure and the close range and proximity in this map is just so tight. I mean, how could you not choose missiles here for this map?
Yeah, it is a pretty solid special choice. And, you know, in classic Mincemeat Metalworks fashion right now, it does seem like that this might just be a one-score. But actually, sorry, I take that back, as the NZAP is able to make a nice play there to score that extra clam in. But I don't know if it's going to help them a whole lot. They are able to get a couple more clams in, but they should have held on to them. But here it is, the finishing clam at last.
Man, and you saw there that the poor NZAP was completely isolated alone in the basket. Meanwhile, the blob was down in the plat area near the car, just trying to I don't know what they were doing right there instead of dressing the basket, but there was some mispositioning going on there from the Comet blasters that the Huskies were able to take advantage on and converge right onto the basket and secure the win.
Yeah, you know, and it ended up being a very low-scoring game, as anticipated. First score ended up being the winning score, as expected. But it, you know, it is a difficult map mode to try to push up on. You almost have to have someone like a Brush or someone that can be very quick and sneaky and able to just get a quick score in, because I feel like that's ultimately what's gonna win it for you. Because even with the wipeouts, we saw that the team struggled to get up to the basket. But alas, the Huskies are gonna win, I guess, all 7 games 6-1, but this will go down in the record books as a 4-1 victory.
What a great showing from both teams. UT Dallas, the Comet blasters, they are the JV team for UT Dallas, but they are clearly demonstrating the potential and capabilities that they have of, you know, punching around the big boys on top of this Div 1 you know, group here that they're in, and just a great display of, you know, like just overcoming adversity, being able to adapt and overcome. I mean, just there's tons of potential here, and I'm so excited for how UTD is going to be able to handle this division going forward. And then, of course, again, the Huskies, they played so incredibly well with not just relying on Ollie, but also Juani and Nexus. I mean, this team has ways and ways to go, and they are easily going to be a top contender for Div 1 playoffs. And you have to keep an eye on these teams this season. They're gonna shake things up.
Oh, I definitely anticipate that being the case. So we'll have to just see what happens. But the Huskies get an early victory on the board here in week number 1. But that is going to do it for us here today with our first double header of season 2, and we had some fantastic matches. Congratulations to both Purdue, the Boilermaker special, and Husky Splatsville Knights for coming out on top. So we're gonna hopefully see how the rest of these matches shake out this weekend to wrap up week number 1. And we will be back soon with more CCA League action. Mizuno, thank you for joining me on the mic today. Go ahead and plug yourself real quick. Where can the people of our chat find you?
Folks, you can find me both on Twitter and Twitch, MIZU_N0. DRF, where can the good folks find you?
You can all find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We greatly appreciate you tuning in. We will have more collegiate Splatoon action coming up next week. You do not want to miss it. Have a good night, everybody.